the way that the government looks at it is like, hey, if you're going to create this many jobs, that's how Jeff Bezos, that's how Amazon, all of them, they don't pay taxes, because what they do is they say, we're going to come in, we're going to build this facility, it's going to increase the value of the area where we build it, and then we're going to employ some 20,000 people in your city. So because of the trade-off of that, they're creating jobs and they're doing this, they're like, don't charge us taxes.
Right.
And so
well, I think
there should be some. There should
fair.
be some. Is it though? And for how long?
I think
Especially when the jobs that you're giving to these people are not at a livable wage. So you're telling me that I can employ somebody at the federal minimum wage, $7.25 an hour, and because I'm going to employ this many people, now I don't have to pay taxes on my $1 billion a year that I'm making every year?
Okay, let me ask you this question. Okay, minimum wage, right? Well, in terms of Amazon, they don't pay minimum wage.
No,
they pay way above. So let's stick to Amazon.
But so much lobbying and media attention had to be brought for them too. Amazon didn't just start out paying $15 an hour. That's something they did in the last few years because they became under fire for not.
All right, so like for example, Amazon. They pay, let's say they pay $20 an hour. I don't know what they pay, but let's say Amazon pays $20 an hour. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem with the minimum wage or any type of payment with the employee and employer relationship. No matter how much I pay you, it's never going to be enough. In the case of Amazon, the reason it's never going to be enough because they pay you $20, but they going to work you and get $100 out of you. Is that fair? So now you're like, well, I want $100. Okay, the people we work for, we pay $100 for, we're going to work and get 1,000 out of them. That's how business work. So it was a guy on CNN. I want to pull it up, but we can't play the clip or whatever because of copyright. But the guy was on CNN complaining about being at Amazon, and Amazon, he wanted them to union, and he was telling them how he's so overworked and all of this. And mid-interview, they didn't ask this dude this before the interview. I don't know why. But he's on there complaining. I'm thinking this guy make like $30,000 a year and getting like worked. He said he make $120,000 a year. He was the manager. But he just felt like he was overworked and underpaid because Jeff Bezos got a yacht and he making billions of dollars and the company is making $10 billion in profit. So my point is, I actually think that's a good wage. If you,
of course you do.
If you're an unskilled worker,
you're an employer.
No. If you're an unskilled worker, you have no education, you're sitting in the neighborhood, you're not doing anything. Going to work for Jeff Bezos for $20 an hour is a good wage. In a warehouse,
I disagree respectfully.
How much should they pay him?
I think that it really should be based on what the business is pulling in. I absolutely do not think that it's okay for shareholders and CEOs of companies to be raking in billions and billions and billions of dollars while people can't barely afford to pay their rent. That is like not okay to me.
Well,
because it's the value that they're bringing. Like you said, they're still bringing value. You have to know that with most companies, the heartbeat of the company is literally at the low-level workers.
Well,
without them, you have nothing.
The problem with the Amazon workers is the value is not in the people. It's not in the one person. Like it's
in the collective.
It's in the collective. So
and they know that. That's why they want to unionize.
Right, but they can't really unionize because if this one place try to unionize, they got enough profit. They just shut down the whole warehouse.
Not necessarily. I think.
Yeah, they do that. They do that. They just did that for Jeff Bezos and them. Just did that. They tried to unionize, and they literally shut down the whole warehouse because they like it's cheaper for us to just lose money on this warehouse than it is to if we let y'all unionize, then everybody's
what if
gonna start
all the other warehouses follow suit? Is that applying pressure?
That would be applying pressure, but what did you just say? These people can barely pay their rent. So now, how long can you really apply pressure if you make it $20 an hour? If you accept $20 an hour, that let me know something about you.
Yeah.
You can't afford to apply too much pressure.
And that's not even just with the $20 an hour. That's why a whole bunch of NFLers didn't want to follow Kaepernick when he was doing what he was doing. And those guys make millions. But what they know is that when you make $5 million and your mortgage is $8,000 every month, but you still don't want to be behind on your bills.
Well, even with Kaepernick, I feel like where Kaepernick went wrong is.
But I'm just saying on the financial end, those guys who make millions weren't even going to take that L and say, hey, I'll sacrifice, I make millions. I've got tons in the bank.
Yeah.
If I sit out a couple games, I'll be okay. No, they didn't look at it like that because
Well,
sometimes even when people are making millions, they're still living check to check, and you
of
know
course,
that.
of course, yeah,
Because
of
it's
course.
all about what's your overhead, what's your expenses.
Yeah, I mean, whether I got an $80,000 house or $8 million house, I can still be living check to check because my mortgage is 200,000 versus 500 or whatever. But
Because it's a purposeful thing that they do. You have consultants and strategists and people who are coming in to look at what the bottom line is and where can we cut costs and how can we crunch this. And very rarely is it crunched from the very top. It's cut out
So-
from the bottom.